Welcome to our latest episode of the Technocrats. Today, we will take a closer look at the industry's 4.0 revolution evolving landscape and how it is impacting supply chain management. As the global industrial automation market is set to expand at a CAGR of 10.5% by 2030, the industrial AI market is expected to reach approximately $58 billion by 2029, growing at a remarkable CAGR of about 52%. Utilizing these cutting-edge technologies to promote operation effectiveness and company success is a challenge for businesses. The emergence of technology and automation has brought about a paradigm shift in the supply chain industry. These pose a big challenge for upskilling of workforce, privacy concerns, and ethical considerations about the deployment of AI. As challenging it may be, it also presents enormous opportunities for growth and innovation. On how to capitalize on these opportunities and avoid common pitfalls, we are thrilled to invite Mr. Ron Kyslinger as our esteemed guest today. Ron is the CEO and President of Kyslinger Consulting International and has held senior executive positions at some of the world's largest companies, including Walmart, Amazon, Chrysler, Ford, and Honda. In addition to his impressive corporate background, Ron also serves on the board of several companies, including an electrified and autonomous vehicle platform company and an e-commerce retail delivery company. Ron's expertise in driving innovation, process improvement, and operation efficiency makes him a highly respected and sought-after industry expert. He has helped organizations of all sizes to successfully navigate through the challenges of digital transformation and the adoption of emerging technologies. Without further ado, Ron, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here today.
So, Ron, we basically get many inquiries. If I'm an entrepreneur or a leader who has not used AI and automation before, then how should I go about adopting it? Your views on that?
Sure. So there are ways to get your feet wet, so to speak, in AI, where you don't have to dive in head first. So some of the things that come to mind is artificial intelligence gets applied in e-commerce and fulfillment sites, recognizing patterns, so that humans many times don't have the time or the capacity to digest all of the data that's out there. So I joke about it a little bit, but I say, we're drowning in an ocean of data, but we don't have much information. So taking that data and turning it into actionable information. And I'll give you an example. Maybe, for instance, I was the manager of the inbound receiving dock of a large facility. And we've actually managed to clear the yard and get everything inbounded 30 minutes ahead of schedule. And one of my workers comes up to me and she asks, can we take our break early? Well, it might seem logical for me to reward her and say, sure, let's go to break, without any further information. However, the AI could actually look at what the orders are that are dropping into the facility, which maybe I don't have line of sight to, and understand that the last time these types of orders fell into the system, we ran out of inbound receiving capacity, the people that are actually receiving stuff further into the line and putting it away, or packing or in shipping. And maybe a better result for the business would be to reallocate the people that no longer have to be stripping trailers and trucks, but could be putting stuff away, or could be decanting or something like that. And this is where AI could actually say, through pattern recognition, I recognize what's about to happen to you because of what I've seen happen in the past. It can also be used for other things as far as recognizing packaging types and directing workflows. For instance, I may have a teddy bear that's in a box and it's very easily picked by a large pneumatic robotic end-of-arm tool. However, the following week, it comes in as a naked teddy bear as it would sit on a child's bed. And now all of a sudden, it's no longer a pneumatic pick, it's a mechanical pick. And if that can be recognized in advance, it can actually be sent to the appropriate station that can handle it without causing downtime or any flow throughput problems.
That sounds great. Actually touching on the points is that getting the information in the hands of the managers who are actually going to make the decision, doing the data-led transformation, and also how to actually automate the workflows or wherever the problems in the workflows is. So Ron, you have wealth of experience in leading like large-scale transformation initiatives in the supply chain industry. So in your opinion, what you have seen as the role of AI and automation and how it is evolving in your initiatives over the years, and what are those drivers for those evolutions?
So how I've seen AI being implemented has been through primarily the forefront of deep learning for robotic picking and trying to ascertain what is the best angle or best way to try to approach an item and pick it out of a mixed tote. However, that's just a microcosm of the entire process, meaning that it was one of the forefronts that a lot of people were talking about the AI application. And I'd like to point out that the AI can be used in various ways, meaning some robotics companies and automation companies use it as a way to learn as you try to pick. So, for instance, I try to pick and I fail. Well, it learns from that, and it tries again, and it tries again, and it eventually determines, oh, okay, I have to pick it from this angle on this surface in order to get it. Other companies have applied deep learning in a different way and said, let's do it in the virtual world so that I don't have to spend all of that time trying in the physical world and failing to learn. I can fail in a digital environment, and I can use a lot of the specifications about the SKU to know how to best pick it in the future. And all of that can be done offline ahead of schedule and thus making the application more robust on its very first attempt when it's installed. There's also human in the loop. So while robots aren't going to solve everything and the deep learning may not solve everything, every once in a while you might need a human to intervene. And the question is, what are you going to do with that intellect that the human just provided to recover the system? So, for instance, I have an orange tote, and inside the orange tote, I've got an orange Home Depot card that's standing up on edge. And the robot, its vision is failing to see it. But now a human comes in with an Oculus headset and a Vive hand controller remotely, sees that, okay, oh, I detected, okay, I can see this little shadow of an edge of a card. I know what happened. But the way they choose to fix it is they use the robot, manipulate the robot to grab the tote, shake the tote, and so now the part falls over, so it's visible, and now the robot can pick it. The question is, are we going to allow that robot to learn that as a recovery method? So it can, and deep learning has to be given guide rails, and that AI has to be given rules about what it's allowed to do. So maybe the answer is yes, it's okay to shake the tote. Maybe it's not okay if a human is in that working vicinity. So you may have to set up rules around when it's okay and when it's not okay. But all of that is part of the AI process, and it's trying to grow the capabilities of the AI while making the solution more robust by leveraging the power of AI.
And it seems like you also mentioned like using the new technologies of how the AI can be trained faster, better, and maybe able to handle the exceptions or errors much better also. Interesting. One of the things we always appreciate, I'm also an ex-Walmart associate myself, and I really appreciated the technology and processes which are actually used at Walmart. So how did you approach incorporating AI and automation in Walmart's operation? And what were some of the key benefits that resulted from those efforts?
Sure. In some cases, it was a longer process, meaning that there are some existing deep roots in Walmart personnel that have been there a very long time and have worked in a certain prescribed manner. And the application of AI then starts to become either Maybe the terminology isn't scary, but that really is what it can be to some people that are uneducated about what it can do. Some of the things that come to mind is using things like vision guided vehicles that can come into the work environment, and they can map their own surroundings and learn the surroundings, and they can understand that there's a wall of pallets that may be in inbound receiving, so it's coming down an aisle, and it actually comes to that wall of pallets that are there in the morning. But in the afternoon, it may come down that same aisle, and now they're all gone because now they've been put away. And so we can see hundreds of feet onto the dock. And people are afraid that, well, what's that robot going to do? It could go rogue. It could, go running out into the parking lot. It can do all kinds of different things. So, in many cases, there is very limited things that can go wrong, and they can be mitigated quite easily through the AI as well as the vehicle autonomously learns. But getting people to understand what the AI is actually doing, what the safety guidelines of that are. For instance, a lot of people were concerned that the AI would just automatically change the distance or speed at which these vehicles could approach a human. And so I had to explain to them that while it can map its direction, it could actually even turn around or drive around an object if it needed to. It could not change any of the safety features of how it was driving. So in other words, it's not allowed to go beyond lines where humans are allowed to walk. It has certain speed zones at which it starts to approach a human. It has to slow down. If anybody were to try to attempt to change those, first of all, there's separate passwords in order for a person to change those. And if somebody does change them, there's two-level authority on that, meaning that the person who changed it in the building could be one person, or even you could do it remotely, but if you could change it, there has to be a second person outside of the facility that agrees to the change before it's even allowed to be enacted on the robot. So if a person accidentally said, when I get within 20 feet of a human, I have to slow down to 50% speed, let's say. If they accidentally fat fingered that and put it to 2 feet, right, somebody outside the building would also have to make the same mistake and say, yes, that's acceptable. So these are ways that we can kind of hold some reins on the AI while still allowing the AI to solve a problem in a way that a human may not have initially thought of.
And I basically agree that change is always scary. And in these cases, changes actually has to be planned properly. And you also alluded to like AI safety and AI risk, which actually brings to my next question is that no good thing is actually without its flaws. So industry leaders, like even godfather of AI, are sounding alarm about the AI risk. So as a leader, how should I identify and manage AI risk, AI safety, AI ethics, all those things which are actually in the play as the difference what AI can do and what human can do is that gap is actually closing day by day.
Yeah, so that is a difficult topic. And one of the suggestions that I would have is that, as I mentioned, humans have to set the guidelines and rein in what the AI is allowed to do and what it's not allowed to do. Unfortunately, humans often have differing opinions. So those opinions can be driven either by an approach to a mathematical solution or a problem, or political beliefs or other things like that. And so we can't allow those to creep into the AI. And one of the best ways to prevent that is to make sure that we have diverse teams and workforces working on it. So as I mentioned prior, having two-level authentication of a safety movement, right, gives me a second safety net to make sure that if somebody made a mistake, I don't let it out. I would say that on the AI issues that you brought up and like the godfather of AI being concerned about it, I would say that it would be much better to have a team of people with diverse inputs that are all responsible for signing off on saying it's safe. And what that can do then is it minimizes any focused thinking that gets somebody focused on their own beliefs or their own experiences, which might be a myopic view of everything that really needs to be thought about. So as they say, normally a team is better than any individual, right? And that's because you're leveraging everybody's experiences. And if everybody on that team is held accountable, like physically putting their name and signature to the line saying that, yes, I agree with this, I think that would be the first step to making sure that we have something that is logical. And I think as long as we can maintain a logical approach, we stand a very good chance of leveraging and harnessing the best of AI without letting the worst of AI get out.
Well, sounds great. It means diversity of experience, team approach, and also the accountability. I think that might be really help the companies in managing such risk. I know, Ron, you are an executive partner at THL as well, and you get an opportunity to learn about various innovations and disruptive technologies every day. In your opinion, what private equity firms or VC firms are looking for while evaluating these AI and automation companies?
Well, in most cases, the private equity firms are very consistent in the fact that they tend to hire a lot of very wicked smart financial individuals, right? So typically it's financial and business. And they can take a look at the numbers, they can look at the market, there's a lot of things that they can look at, but they leverage people like myself and others to come in and advise from a technical standpoint. So just because something solved one problem, right, it can get unfortunately conflated sometimes that it's going to solve everything. And that really isn't necessarily the case. So I've made this comment throughout my career. You can ask any C-level folks that I've ever worked with or coached and along these lines, or anybody that's ever reported to me. I say, I believe in using the correct tool for the job, and I'm agnostic to that tool as long as it works. So what I mean by that is I may have a really good solution for something that's, let's just say, an apparel, right, which might not be a great solution for something that's an automotive. And likewise, something that's a fabulous solution in automotive might not be a good application in grocery. Or it may be a good application in grocery for a large fulfillment center, but it doesn't work for a micro fulfillment center. So being able to look and split the market and understand what's going to vend based on what end use cases the problem it's trying to solve. So it's that question that everybody always asks, what problem are you trying to solve? If you can understand what problem the person's trying to solve, then you can start to align the technology that's best suited to solve that problem. In some cases, what I find is a lot of the companies that get pulled up as a target for a potential acquisition by private equities, they are really good at solving the problem that their first client or customer had, right? Because they focused around solving the issues for that client. But that client may have very different issues than someone else. So for instance, a lot of people don't even realize, I'm sure you do because you worked at Walmart, but Walmart's approach to e-commerce is quite different than Amazon's approach to e-commerce. So just because something works for Amazon doesn't mean it's going to necessarily work for Walmart or vice versa. Their approaches are quite different. The way they look at the market, the way they look at their customers, how they're targeting customers, all of that changes. And so the AI, even going back to understanding how a customer shops, understanding what they're navigating to on a website and directing their attention to what they need, is different. And so understanding what solution sets, what software, what hardware, what other AI might be out there in order to help those problem sets come to a solution, that's really where it's digging through the forest to get to the tree that they're after. and making sure that they understand how many of those trees are actually out there, how fertile is the area of that company of the problems they're trying to solve.
Yes, one shoe doesn't fit all, and I think it's all about the value and how that value is applicable to the whole segment of the companies. Definitely, I mean, I think this is a very, very helpful for me and for our listeners. We have come towards the end of our podcast, Ron. So, any advice would you like to give it to our audience and listeners before the end of the podcast?
Oh yeah, sure. I tend to advise people to listen to experts. And when I say listen to experts, you may have internal experts, you may have your own engineering team, you may have your own software teams that you can lean on. But it never hurts to look at some integrators, look at differing opinions of different suppliers that can maybe approach a problem a different way, and keeping your mind open to what potential solution sets could be out there. So again, being laser focused on a vision of what you want to accomplish is great, but keeping your mind open and being agnostic to the solution so that if somebody comes in with a better mousetrap, you can actually, recognize that mousetrap and then graciously use it. So I found in my time in my career, regardless of where I've been, small companies, large companies, whether I'm launching a company from start or I'm working in a company the size of Walmart, it always pays to keep your eyes open, your ears open, your mind open, and learn from the people around you as much as you possibly can, and then help them mitigate the potential missteps that can happen along the way. And so anywhere you can draw knowledge from, seek knowledge, it's always going to be in your best interest.
Thank you very much, Ron. I really appreciate it, and glad to have you on our podcast.
This brings to the end of today's episode of the Technocrats. The ever-evolving Industry 4.0 landscape demands that we remain informed of the latest technologies and industry's best practices to foster success in the supply chain industry. We extend our gratitude to Mr. Kyslinger for sharing his invaluable expertise and insights into navigating this challenging terrain with precision and effectiveness. Do join us for our upcoming episode of the Technocrats as we delve deeper into the confluence of technology and business. And until then, keep innovating and stay ahead of the curve.